Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, and welcome, boys and girls, to the 254th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We're powered by ATEBIT.net and those sexy legends over at Audio Technica. I'm your extremely humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere, Brendan 8-Bit. And joining me today, my podcast Ride or Die, Ayla the Huntress. It's my Ulfric Stormcloak. You can find her on them socials at Miss Allie Hart. Miss Allie Hart, how the bloody hell are you?
What's up? I say it with
it is all up, I guess you could say.
No motivation behind my voice. I am drinking coffee. I know you're drinking coffee. Just a bit of time.
Black like my soul.
I made like a protein powder coffee blended mix because
I'm listening. I'm very intrigued by this.
I need them proteins. So
okay.
yeah. My Ninja like little counter mixer thing. It does wonders. Just blend everything.
So did you blend like coffee grounds with your protein powder with the water?
No. So
milk. Is it milk based one or is it water?
I got milk.
Okay.
I got milk. So you just like you put in some ice cubes, you put in your protein powder, and then you put in some milk, and then just a shot of espresso, and then just nice.
That actually sounds pretty good.
It is. It's actually really, really good.
It's like a good way to start the day. I'm here with just my pleb pod coffee. Like it's tasty.
Which is still good.
Don't get me wrong.
It's still good.
Yeah, but there's no hot dog flavored protein powder in this bad boy.
Oh yeah, none of that Sonic protein powder.
I've ordered that. I haven't had any updates about it shipping yet.
No, I'm still.
When
curious.
it does, then I'm going to try and break it down and see if I can send you some if it carries.
Yeah, send just put it in a sealed little lunch bag and try and mail some white powder over
Not
my way.
anthrax. It is fine. It is hot dog powder.
Hot dog powder. Totally legit. Trust me.
Yeah. American Border Patrol. It is fine. It's safe. It's going to make you feel good. Going to taste probably like ass, but it is just hot dog powder. Don't worry. There's nothing world turning in this packet.
Maybe.
But speaking of world turning, a world that sort of turns and resets and loops, I guess we could jump into what we've been playing. And you and I have both found ourselves in a bit of a apartment-based time loop scenario, playing Luis Antonio and Annapurna's recent release. We've both been playing on the Xbox Series X. We're talking about a little ditty that was first announced in 2016. So it's been a bit of a long time between drinks, but it is finally upon us. 12 minutes with such famous Hollywood heavyweights as Daisy Ridley, as Willem Dafoe. And then, obviously, we've also got James McAvoy. So we've got not only Ray, we've got Green Goblin, and we've got Professor X all coming together here in 12 minutes. It is a cavalcade of who's who of pop culture icons. But Miss Hart, 12 minutes. Yay or nay, are you digging this? Or what's your thoughts? Was it worth the wait?
I'm on the fence. Because obviously when you are looking forward to something for so long, you want it to be good and you want to have the best experience because it was all worth it, right? I played about 2 hours this morning because I wasn't able to play last night because I died at the gym. So I wasn't able to play. So I got about 2 hours in this morning, and there's things that I like about it, and I think I've screwed myself over because progressive wise, I think I did really well on my very first run. Just by, like, I guess maybe having experience in kind of like puzzle room game kind of things and just kind of knowing that, what to do. So I got pretty far. But then in doing that, the repetition of like repeating and like error, learning from that, and then trying something different, but always like kind of like following the same scheme because you were successful. It got kind of tiresome and boring. Like it kind of frustrated me that I had to keep on repeating these exact same steps, get just that little bit further and then have to start again kind of thing. And I understand that's kind of the concept with this game. But it definitely got to a stage where I just said, I don't care how well I did with this timeline. I'm just going to now screw around and just walk around and do this and do that, even though it's probably not getting me anywhere. So there is this level of frustration of repeating and repeating and repeating where the enjoyment kind of interrupts the intrigue and the learning experience. And also playing it on Xbox with an Xbox controller, the controls are pretty bad considering like time being of the essence, and navigating this game can be so tedious and such a hassle that like I don't think it was thought through. Hey, on PC, I'm sure this is amazing. Like I'm sure it works wonders on PC, but on an Xbox controller, I had so many frustrating moments of trying to access items or objects and it's just not working out or canceling it out or whatever. And that also got frustrating. So I really, really want to like it. I want to keep going. A lot of people have been posting ambiguous things about the ending, so I really need to get there. But yeah, I'm on the fence. I'm hoping that with further like playing the game further, I will have a better experience. But just at this stage, I'm in this very tedious kind of cloud. Yeah,
that's fair. And I think everything you've said there is more than justified. So full spoilers, but no narrative-based spoilers. I've finished the game, so I've rolled credits. I've got an ending, and the ending and the moments that occur in that final act of the game, there is some like what, like some big jaw drop moments and some big revelations and things that get presented to you throughout the story. But I do agree. One, the control scheme on the old Xbox controller, yeah, you can navigate it, but it never feels like you've got total control. Like the movement and the buttons on the Xbox controller themselves, they're not a huge variety. Like you've got a menu that you go into to utilize items, and then it's pretty much move your joystick, click A to move or interact with stuff. But there isn't that fluidity you get from a mouse with the stick when you are navigating the man or the husband. So there's sort of characters in, like, they're all pretty well nameless characters. You know, it's husband, you've got your wife who's voiced by Daisy Ridley, and then a scenario plays out where a policeman knocks at the door and then things evolve from there and go in different directions. And then you've got this 12-minute cycle that is just on loop and on loop. And as you said, Miss Hart, you sort of chip away and you find little extra cracks in the story or little additional factoids about this or that to further develop the situation and discover who these characters are and what their motivations are and backstory and all this kind of stuff. But it's a very, very slow burn as far as getting that information. Like there's zero hand-holding in the game. Like there's no clues, there's no things in your tiny little apartment, by the way. I don't know how these two can be happy living in a shoebox like this. This is a tiny apartment, but, you know, I guess love conquers all, and these two seem happy enough, the husband and the wife, and there's some exciting news that develops early in the story. It's all I'm going to say, not going to spoil nothing. But, yeah, it's a very slow, grindy discovery as far as working out what this mystery is and the things that play out and finding certain items. And I got stuck on one of these loops because from sort of doing a bit more reading after I finished it, there's sort of like, I guess you could say, like there's under a dozen or under 10 total, I guess, progression loops in the game to complete it, if that makes sense. Like there's sort of a good amount of things you need to achieve each loop to then move it forward and uncover more story and get more dialogue options. And one of them I got stuck on for a while because I didn't click. Like after I got the item I needed, I didn't actually look at the item and click and have one little throwaway line that popped up after that. And I was just stuck on this loop for like 40 minutes, I reckon, trying everything. And the frustration really set in. I'm like, this is fucking annoying. I don't know what else I can do. I've used every dialogue option in the tree with between the husband and the wife and the cop, and looked in every like corner of the room, like of this apartment, and went through every room and every item. And I'm like, what am I doing? So I actually had to jump online and sort of see what I missed. And it's because I didn't click on this item for the husband to say like one line of dialogue to progress that story ever so slightly. And he says it to himself too. It's not even in a discussion, but that locked me up from moving into that next phase. And it was so frustrating. But once I got past that again, story got rolling on its slow meandering through the way. And yeah, the ending and the things that you learn along the way, it's like, whoa, like there's some real big drama, big sort of David Fincher, Alfred Hitchcockian moments there. And it's like, whoa, okay. But this game is a bit grindy. It is a bit of a slow burn. The voice acting though, like I think those three Hollywood heavyweights certainly, they put their all into these roles. It feels like the voice acting was great, but I think James McAvoy playing the husband, I thought he should show a little bit more fraying at the edges, because he's stuck in this loop all the time, over and over and over. You know,
yeah.
The loop resets and he's like, oh, it's getting a little easier. Oh, what the fuck just happened? But then it's like back to normal monotone discussion. There's no like sort of mental breaks that this guy's experiencing because he's stuck in this infinite loop. So I would have liked to have seen a little bit more human degradation to him, maybe, because it was the same vocal delivery in all those lines all the time.
I hate to say this, but they could have just done some highly acclaimed voice actors, and I think it would have just been the same kind of experience. I wouldn't necessarily say anything about the voice acting particularly grabbed me. Like, I wouldn't necessarily think like, well, I'm like sitting back going, wow, this feels like Hollywood. I'm like, no, I feel like really, you know, highly regarded voice actors in the like gaming scene or just voice acting scene in general could have just done the same thing and they would have been okay. So I kind of feel like they got the names to attach the names and have that excitement. So I don't really think it added anything, unfortunately. And going back to the whole like the game just drops you in, it doesn't give you any like guidance. I actually like that. It's one of my things that I do enjoy. I like it that they just said, there you go for it. We're not going to guide you in any possible way. And I appreciate that. I like that. I think my biggest problem was that, like I said, when I first loaded into the game and I already progressed this timeline, after a while I got so frustrated with it, I just stopped. And then I know that I'm now going down another kind of timeline, and then I was working towards that. So I think maybe I should just, as grindy as it is, I should just stick to one just to get to one ending, I believe, because I think by me exploring all these different ones, I'm not getting anywhere, and that's probably what's frustrating me. So
you're stretching yourself too thin, you reckon?
I'm just too curious, like, and I'm always so inquisitive with like these games where it's like, oh, you've got this item, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if I can do this with this item, and I love that sort of shit. So the thing is that I'm too distracted. I just like exploring and just like, you know, trying all these different things, maybe not succeeding, maybe succeeding. So I'm obviously tying myself up, and I'm not getting rewarded with a progression in story. So
I do like those little light bulb moments in the game where you pick up item X and then you've got item Y, and you're like, can I combine these, or can I do this and that? And then you do that, and then you use the item in the game, and you're like, whoa, this opens up some other options. And you find other items that some of them are almost there just for the sake of being there, or at least I haven't worked out during my time with the game what this item's purpose serves outside of maybe this one little interaction. But it's all part of the discovery and part of the fun. And the game's been reviewed pretty well. Like for PC, it's 80 out of 100 on Metacritic and 78 out of 100 for Xbox. So, you know, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, somewhere around there. GameSpot gave it a 9, IGN gave it an 8 out of 10, Game Informer 8 out of 10. So the reviews themselves are all pretty well in line across the games media. And yeah, I'd say for me, like I know we're sort of trying to get away from review scores these days. Like I'd say to be 8-bit approved, but it's more of like if we're going to score it, I think it's closer to somewhere to the 7 to 7.5. Like I've had fun with it, and It's been very different to my usual gameplay habits, and it's even been more unusual to a lot of these twin stick indie darlings we've been playing the last couple of months.
Yeah.
But it's been fun.
Yeah. And that's why I'm not necessarily saying it's bad, it's good right now, because I don't think 2 hours into it is justifiable to have a valid opinion on the overall experience. But just the things that are kind of just grabbing me at my current stage, those are the things that are kind of bothering me. So
Yeah.
I'll obviously give it a little bit more time, and hopefully my experience will change for the better.
Yeah. My run time, I was somewhere between 3 and 4 hours, I think, to finish it in total, because I had a couple of good, real quick, rapid discoveries as far as progressing the story and doing the right thing in the right order. So I churned through a bit. So it feels like a very much an interactive film. And yeah, it's interesting. Like Luis Antonio, who's the dev behind this, he wrote it, produced it, and sort of did this with a very small team. He was an ex-artist from Rockstar and Ubisoft. So he's been in the field for a while, and this game has been in gestation for a while. But it's just crazy that there's these 3 Hollywood actors attached to this game. When like I've heard of Luis Antonio before, but I didn't know him, and even Annapurna, the publisher behind this game, you know, they're the publisher of many an indie game. To get those 3 names attached to this, like that's a pretty big swing. And I guess it's smart to market this game and leverage and lean into the celebrity aspect of it to hopefully get more eyes and get more sales of the game, because it was fun. And I'd like to see more games designed like this. And there were some pretty cool moments in the game when the story just unfolded in front of my eyes and took me places I didn't even expect it was going to go. So it's like, whoa, it was cool. It felt like I was watching playing out one of these kind of like whodunit thriller mind-bender films that you watch these days. So I enjoyed my time. Like, I'd recommend the game. I don't know if this game style, especially on Xbox, is for everybody with the controls and just this very slow brick by brick mentality with this game, where you're moving very, very slowly at times through this story, and you know, it's the onion that you're peeling back has many, many layers. So get ready for minimal progression sometimes on your loops, that's for sure.
Definitely. That I can guarantee.
Yeah. But you'd recommend it, Miss Hart? You think it falls into the approved bucket, or is it on the cusp?
It's on the cusp, because like there are definitely elements that I really love about it, and there's elements that I'm excited to see unfold. Like I said, I think most of my experience that I'm having at the moment is a fault of myself, and just being too curious and not, following a line of progression of like, okay, keep following this line, and I'm just too distracted by, oh, what about this? What about that? What about this? And I should just follow one path for the moment.
Yes, indeed. But it's a cool little point and click, interesting mystery attached to it. Some pretty good voice acting by some big names in Hollywood, and it's reviewing well, and it's on Game Pass. So if you've already got that service, this game's not going to cost you anything. Yeah. So get your hands on it through there and give it a run. Like you could finish this game over an evening or over a weekend and stuff like that. So it's not going to take up a ton of your time, and it's going to be very unlike most of the other things you're playing at the moment.
True that.
Outside of that, Miss Hart, like I haven't been playing a ton. Like I got to experience a little bit of the Ascent during the week. I rolled out with Benny for an hour or two just to try the multiplayer. Fun, frenetic, chaotic, all the stuff we've already talked about with this game. One thing I did like on the multiplayer is that you're not sort of hamstrung to being both on the screen at the same time. That was probably my favorite thing. You know, sometimes with Diablo, you're trying to push forward and someone's over here
holding
rooting around and looting.
Yeah.
And you're stuck on the invisible wall. I like that you could sort of spread out and do your own thing, and then, keep moving and not have to wait for your squad mate to be right beside you to keep moving through the panels. I thought that was really nice.
I guess that would have worked out well for you because you guys were in separate locations, so you still would have had a full screen for yourself. But on a local co-op, it's chaotic. You've got two characters that you're trying to keep an eye on and stuff. It was a little chaotic for me.
Yeah. But it was fun. Like, certainly the game was a lot easier having a squad mate because it looks like the same amount of enemies that you'd be facing as a soloist are the same amount as that you're facing in a squad. So it was certainly a lot more easy to mow down and kill so many things. God, you kill so many people and creatures in this game. There is so much bloodshed. But that was fun. And outside of that, rolled credits on Boyfriend Dungeon.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed my time with that. And that's all I've really been doing. Like, I finished all 5 seasons now of Food Wars. So I wrapped my Food Wars journey over the past week and a bit. Fantastic story. Loved it. Want more of it. I'm so sad now I don't have any more Food Wars. So, yeah, that's me. Miss Hart, what about you?
I also played Boyfriend Dungeon because of your recommendation, and I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't like my digital boyfriend breaking up with me. I picked Sunder and did really well in that relationship, but then he broke up with me, and I was like, where did this come from? So that was sad. And then I screwed up the overall story of the game because there is a character called Eric who is just makes you cringe. Like, you know, he's like, he has bad intentions. So my brain goes, well, why would I talk to him? I don't want to date him. So I avoided him completely, finished everyone else's story. And I'm like, I can't finish this game until I talk to that douchebag, right? And it was the case. So my story... That's a
bit annoying.
My story was all over the place because, like, I didn't realize, but my dates and stuff like that were referencing things that I didn't know about because I hadn't pursued Eric's story. And then...
Oh, see, that's weird. Like, that's some very uneven, frustrating writing where they're alluding to things that haven't happened but should have just because of the progression. Like, that's weird to me.
Like, so, and I didn't realize because, like, But either way, like, the whole story was a bit mixed up for me. I actually don't know who, like, do you end up with someone at the end? Like, does it tell you who your partner is at the end?
I don't know if I want to confirm or deny for the ones that haven't played.
True.
Maybe it does. Maybe.
I got close to a lot of people, but I also friend zoned a lot of people. So I wasn't too sure because of how badly I played the game or incorrectly I played the game. Everything was all over the place. So unfortunately, I recommend talking to Eric, and you might have a better experience. Unfortunately,
Eric is the discourse magnet for this game. There is a lot of internet-based frustrations and anger getting thrown towards this character, and then poorly thrown towards the devs and the voice actor behind this game, which is disgusting behavior. Don't do that kind of shit.
Absolute morons.
And then this ridiculous sense of entitlement that's come off the back of this, where they're like, how dare you make us play through these scenarios? Like, we didn't know. Why didn't we get an option? And then it's like, where does this end, Miss Hart? Like, does this become a thing where we're going to go to the movies in a few years and you get the whole synopsis on a score sheet before you go in and you read it all and like, okay, there's nothing that's going to trigger me there. That's fine. Like, I'll approve. I'll go in. Like, does it get to the point where you have to have everything spoiled for you to make sure there's not going to be something that's going to be uncomfortable and disruptive and unsettling? Like,
so the thing for me is if a dog dies. So if a dog dies in the game, I don't play it. That's my thing. I find it unnecessary, and I just, there's actually a website you can go to find out. I think it's called "It Does the Dog Die?" But I think the biggest problem with this was because they tried to be very cautious and aware on certain circumstances that apparently opened up the floodgate of other people complaining that they didn't take their things into consideration. So it's just really unfair for them to be judged based on that when you have other games that just don't do any of that. Someone on my timeline brought up the fact that people praise Persona 5 and the themes within the first story or the first battle are very, very risky and very terrible, and there's no So yeah, I just I don't know what's the best answer because obviously some people maybe had some genuine issues playing the game, but then I guess the bottom line is that if something makes you uncomfortable or if you don't like doing it and it hurts, like it makes you feel really bad, then just, I guess, don't play it.
Yeah, don't play it, and then don't send the mobs against the people that have made this art, whether it be a game or a film or a TV show or a book. Like, these creative mediums and the genres and the topics and the tones, they're not for everybody. Like, and that's not a bad thing. Like, you know, things that you love, I might not, and vice versa. Like, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person or I'm a bad person or the people that makes these things are bad people. Like, good interactive mediums and media, I think when it can make you feel certain ways, and especially like uncomfortable and sad and stressed and those types of emotions, I think that's the sign of good storytelling, whether it be in a game or a book or a film or a TV series. And that doesn't mean the people behind it are pieces of shit for making you feel that way. Like, that's, they wanted you to feel real things experiencing that. And because you are feeling upset or brought up some old trauma from 10 years ago, they didn't know that. Like, they didn't write that in mind, and they've done a Facebook search and heard about your trauma. You know what? We're going to get this one person in the hope that they're going to buy this game or watch this movie and feel this way and then get really upset. Like, they want to make you feel things, good, bad, and otherwise. And that's the sign of good storytelling. Like, Boyfriend Dungeon, there was some moments in this game where I was smiling and laughing because there's some cute interactive moments and some cool progressions with friendships and relationships. And yeah, there was some things where you're like, oh yeah, I don't like the vibe of this person. But at the same time in my head, like, I've met people like that in my real life, but I'm not then saying, okay, person I met from 10 years ago, that's Eric. So, Kit Fox, you guys are pieces of shit for making me relive something from 10 years ago. Like, you know, that's not what they've got in mind with these things. They're playing out real world scenarios to make this content more relatable.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be too relatable, and that's not on the developer or the studio or the writer or the director. That's on you to then decide, okay, this isn't for me. I'm putting it down. You know, this is bringing up something that I don't want to deal with again. I'm putting it down. And then it doesn't give you an excuse then to get the pitchforks and go out and, you know, go for people's heads. Like, you know, just relax.
Yeah.
Relax. You know, it's interactive art that makes you feel all kinds of emotions, good, bad, or otherwise, and just leave it at that.
Yeah. Like, I've definitely dealt with an Eric before in my life. Hence why my first interaction was to, well, I'm just going to stay the fuck away from him.
Everyone knows an Eric. And like, I, you know, as a white male, I've met many Erics in my time. And the second I met this guy in the game, I'm like, I know exactly who you're going to be, fella. And I do not like the cut of your jib. And just like you said, I'm giving you a wide berth, Eric. I'm not dealing with you when you're trying to text me and say things. I'm just going to shut you the fuck down.
Yeah.
And so I just worked through that the whole way. And I'm like, you know what? It's uncomfortable in some of the scenarios and exchanges you have with him through the game, but I still felt like I had the power because he always knew where I stood with him.
Yeah.
So
I just avoided him because I thought, like, I'm like, cool, I don't want you as a boyfriend or a sword, so I'll avoid you. And then it was only at that point where it's like, sorry, you kind of have to deal with this to progress the story. And then I kind of understood the, like, you know, kind of like also dealing with a person like that. And, you know, so I'm like, okay, that's fine. But there's a lot of characters in this game that I've dealt with, and a lot of experiences as well. Some cute, some kind of like, oh God, you know, but yeah, like you said, they're all experiences, and they're all art is out there to make you feel. So
Exactly. And just be prepared to go for a lot of little cute ice skating dates. That's all I'll say. There is many an ice skating scenario that plays out in this game. There's so many ice skating rinks. There's many of these in the dungeons for some reason.
Yeah, and fountains and vibrating chairs.
Yeah, there's some interesting discussions that have around those chairs. But anyway, I think ultimately we both are fans of this game, and I think we could say it's 8-bit approved. Like, I really enjoyed my time with it.
I really enjoyed it.
I think it was really, really well done.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I also enjoyed the little tiny game that they threw in there as well. I feel like your Game Boy or whatever it was. So.
Yeah, no, it's a cute little ditty, and available on Game Pass as well. Like, I know we're not an Xbox show and it feels like we're shilling out to Team Green a lot, but we're just pointing out the values here. So many games that are included in that monthly fee that are well worth your time.
It's just easier in the sense that we talk about these experiences that we have with the game, and then you get to essentially test it out and experience it, see if you feel the same thing as us, and maybe you hate it and we liked it, or vice versa, or whatever. And Game Pass just gives you that easier accessible option to try it without too much investment.
100%. Yeah. Cheers to Game Pass. And Boyfriend Dungeon, good game to play. 12 minutes, good game to play. Destiny 2, also part of Game Pass. Good game to play.
Yeah, get excited, people. I promise I'm not going to go on every week about it. I know that everyone hates it, but there's just new content coming next week. So just, if anyone that is a fan, maybe one other listener out there that is actually a fan of Destiny, new content is coming out next week. Exciting stuff, especially all the things that have been rumored. But that is all I'll say about Destiny. I played a lot this week. Thank you for listening.
Oh, it's clear and concise and everything nice, Miss Hart. That was great. Other things that are also great, your ratings, reviews, and subscriptions, if you can. They keep the emotional lights on in our hearts, so be sure to head on over to Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast player you consume the Hungry Gamers and the rest of the 8-bit oriented content on, and leave those ratings and reviews and subscriptions because, they mean the world to us, costs you no money, takes you no time, and helps keep us tracking, helps keep us relevant. If you want to throw us a little bit of money, you can do so over at ko-fi.com/we-are8bit. Get involved in our tiered subscription starting at the low price of $1 Australian per month. And you can get access to exclusive podcasts, exclusive giveaways, exclusive swag. Speaking of giveaways, our August giveaway is still running for another 10 days or so at time of recording. So you can go into the draw to win an Audio-Technica G1WL wireless gaming headset. To do so, head on over to 8bit.net/win and punch in a couple little quick details in there. Probably take you 30 seconds at the most to jump into that draw, and you can win a headset as well as some 8-bit related swag. So that winner will be announced at the start of September. Still got time to join that giveaway. And Miss Hart, what do you think? Shall we jump into some news?
Let's do it.
This week's news headlines.
All right. And the first one we're talking about today, Skyrim, the game that will not die, is getting another new edition, and this time it is coming with fishing! That excites me to no end. So the game comes with not only a free next-gen console upgrade, so if you are an owner of Skyrim already, you can get this upgrade on there to get all that new nice shiny hotness. There's also going to be 500 Creation Club elements included in this anniversary edition, and that comes with things like quests, dungeons, bosses, and weapons. Obviously what we just alluded to, there's fishing, which is fantastic. And I am keen as a bean for some Skyrim. Obviously we're talking the anniversary edition. It is dropping on November the 11th of 2021, so you don't have to wait too long to jump back into Skyrim with this anniversary edition with all these extra modes and mods and options in there, a sexier coat of paint, fishing. It's been a long time since I've played Skyrim, and this, I can't say that fishing alone has sort of said, maybe you need to go back and play a bit of Skyrim, but I can't deny that the fishing is not drawing me back to Skyrim and shouting at dragons again like I did many years ago. Miss Hart, you in? You getting back in Skyrim?
Probably. I buy Skyrim every time it releases. I think I own it on everything. So, probably. I don't know. Why not?
Yeah. I can't wait. It's such a special game, Skyrim.
The game.
Me too. Such a big fan. The characters, the storylines, the combat, and just, all that awesome Bethesda mythology, first person, third person, action RPG hotness that they are known for. We get all that now in the anniversary edition with all these extra mods and functionalities and fishing. So sign me the hell up if I can do shouts at fish while hooking them and, sending the fish into orbit, like having it on the end of my rod, and then just do one of the shouts and it goes flying into the sun.
I'm trying to remember though. Like, were fish pretty prominent while you were in the water?
I can't remember. Like, it's been a long time since I played Skyrim.
Because that always makes me uncomfortable, because one of my other things is I'm not really good with underwater in games. So I'm like, always having like creatures in the water always kind of irked me a bit, like the uncertainty. Thanks, Ark. You really made me uncomfortable with underwater in games. But I'm trying to remember. Like, I'm curious now to see what like kind of fish. Like, is there going to be selection, or are you just going to fish one fish?
I reckon they're going to add some different fish models into the game. You wouldn't think, because my hazy memory, like when you are jumping in the water and finding submerged treasures and things, you know, there was your generic looking, I guess, trout or salmon types, but I don't remember much variation outside of that. So maybe we're going to get some all kinds of different fish and maybe legendary fish in certain water holes and things. So I will go on a Skyrim fishing adventure, that's for sure.
Yeah, I do want to see it. I do want to experience it, and I miss it. I think it's been a few years. Skyrim on the Switch was the last one I bought, and it was perfect for flights. So yeah, maybe it's time to jump back in again for the 20th time.
I played Skyrim VR for a hot minute. That was the last time I played. And it was fine, but it wasn't what I was looking for at the time. So I'm looking forward to getting back in. Maybe this will be like a bit of a Christmas game for me, just dabbling over Christmas holidays, you know, just getting lost in Skyrim, fishing up a storm, just living my best life. But the next bit of news, Miss Hart, Black Myth Wukong just got a new 12-minute gameplay video that dropped the last couple of days, or last 24 to 36 hours or so at time of recording, and it looks pretty great. The Chinese-made action game is based loosely on Journey to the West, and it took the internet by storm just about 12 months ago. August of 2020 was when it first got debuted, and it's now moved over to the Unreal Engine 5. So Hangzhou-based developer Game Science Studio have confirmed that not only they're on the Unreal Engine 5, but they're also supporting NVIDIA's DLSS, which is their deep learning super sampling technology. And Black Myth Wukong is the first Unreal Engine 5 game to feature DLSS. It doesn't have a release window or platforms yet, but obviously PC is a given based off that NVIDIA support. But it is still very much a game that I've got my eyes on. Did you watch this 12-minute slice?
I didn't. I think I saw a few like different screenshots. The screenshots looked beautiful.
Yes.
But I never know when that actually truly translates into what you're going to experience in game. So, but it looked beautiful. It looked stunning.
It looks like just about one of the best, maybe not best games I've ever seen all like forever, but it's certainly like when I was watching it, I was like, holy crap, this thing is gorgeous. The lighting effects, the weather effects, like a lot of the 12-minute slice you see shows your character running around through a lot of like snow-capped areas, and just watching your character move through the snow and how it interacts with you, and the marks that your feet leave and your weapon leaves and the enemies. It is stunning, and the combat looks awesome. It looks like it's leaning more so towards that sort of Soulsborne style type of game, like where the gameplay in this 12 minutes, it shows a lot of like boss type characters, and they've got their health bars, and obviously they do some pretty punishing attacks. It's like maybe like Sekiro is probably a good comp for this game, I think, as far as the loop that it's gonna put you in. But holy goodness gracious, it is pretty. So I'm keen for this.
I am seeing a big difference between what is obviously going to be cutscenes, and those are the really stunning looking like graphical things that I think they've been showing off, or like a lot of people have been screenshotting. But based on actual gameplay here, it looks good. I think there's, unfortunately, the environment design looks beautiful, like very detailed and everything, but I'm not too sure about the character designs, the character models. I think maybe there's a few scenes in there where some of the character models look a little bit not bad, but I wouldn't say to the same level as the environment design. So
yeah, I can get a bit of that. Some of the some of the character models, some of the like the bosses they show in these really quick cuts, they do look not as polished as the environments, but yeah, like we're getting a good taste of, you'd say this is alpha footage because we don't even know like a release window, is it like to a quarter or to a year, but it looks cool, and I got my eyes on it. I'm hoping it's going to jump to console, because I'll need a pretty grunty PC to run this thing the way it's meant to be played otherwise. So we'll see. But yeah, Game Science Studio came out of nowhere the last 12 months with this game, and everybody's talking about it. Everybody's excited for a bit of Black Myth Wukong. The next bit of news, not as positive as the previous news with Black Myth Wukong, but 343 Studios has announced it is delaying the campaign co-op options and Forge modes for Halo Infinite until after launch, as the developers focus on getting the single-player campaign and multiplayer done in time for its holiday release. We still don't have a date or a month. It's holiday 2021 is what they're leaning towards. But yeah, this was a video update that dropped on the official Halo YouTube channel over the last several hours this morning. And Halo Infinite head of creative Joseph Staten confirmed that neither campaign, co-op, nor Forge will be in Halo at launch, but they are confirming that 343 Halo Infinite is 100% committed to release the anticipated shooter this holiday season. So they've fully lent into, this is going to be out by Christmas. You're just not going to get Forge, and you're just not going to get campaign co-op. Forge mode, I don't think that's a big loss for it to be delayed. Like Forge was where you had like the customization sandbox for multiplayer maps, so you could sort of make your own multiplayer maps for the multiplayer aspect of the game. Cool. I never really dabbled in that in the previous iterations of Halo. The campaign co-op, though, is a bit of a tough one, because I loved playing the campaign with friends and experiencing this together. Like, it's still going to be a great singular experience, but yeah, that part sucks. But we're not here to get our pitchforks and torches out, Miss Hart, and say poo-poo on you, 343. Like, COVID's still happening. It's the same things we've said all the time on this podcast. You know, making games is hard, and then making games working from home is even harder. So these things will happen, and they've just had to strip back a couple of functions to make this game complete, in air quotes, by a holiday for release.
I think it's smart what they've done. They've obviously looked at the overall big picture and then said, what can we do? Do we focus on everything and possibly delay it further? Or do we focus on these two key components, which is solo campaign and multiplayer? Probably the two biggest things that people look forward to playing with Halo, and then saying, we'll focus on these, we'll nail these, and we'll get these done in time, and then we will work on these others, unfortunately, after launch. And I think it's a better way of looking at it. Like, obviously now, by saying this and doing this, you really hope that they nail their holiday launch, because it'll probably look a little bad. But I just think it's, on the grand scale of things, like, bringing like something that's complete but half-baked is probably worse than just providing a few slices.
I couldn't have put it better. Like, it's smart that they've said, yeah, what do people know Halo and want Halo to be? And it's a good single player experience, and then the multiplayer. And the fact that the multiplayer is still going to be available for free for gamers. They don't need to buy the game to be able to play the multiplayer. So you're still going to get a huge player base over this holiday season with this game, just on the back of the multiplayer being free on its own. And that'll keep people probably embedded in this Halo Infinite ecosystem enough until they can then bring out Forge and bring out the campaign co-op and keep things rocking and rolling for 343. And I think I like that they've sort of got ahead of this well ahead of time. Like, imagine if this got to November and the game was coming out at the back end of November or something. And they're like, oh, by the way, this isn't happening. Like, they've given us now 4 months, I guess, potentially to brace for this game and these things not being in there. So hopefully the blowback and the unnecessary internet anger that's going to get thrown at 343 about this kind of stuff will be a little reduced and subdued, because they were forthcoming about it well ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to be pissy regardless. That's the internet, that's life, that's people, that's society, etc. But I mean, I don't see necessarily taking out the campaign co-op and Forge being the worst case scenario for most players. I think they'll be happy with campaign and multiplayer.
Yeah, I'm excited to play that campaign and get that big science fiction narrative experience in this hub world that they've got going. And then I'm excited to roll multiplayer and probably get headshotted by people with battle rifles from across the map frequently. But hey, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm excited to play Halo for the first time.
Better late than never, Miss Hart. Yeah. Better late than never.
Yeah.
You're very punctual with most things in life, but there's certain types of media where you are very, very late to the party.
To be fair, and talking half-baked, I actually bought the Master Chief Collection when they did that, and well...
Yeah, that did release pretty broken. So maybe they learnt a little bit from that.
Hopefully. I didn't end up
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed Halo Infinite is everything we want to be and more this holiday season, because gamers... Xbox 343, we're all needing a win. We're all needing something to help elevate the Xbox a little higher as far as exclusive content, and Halo Infinite could be that.
Hopefully.
All right, moving into some other less than positive news. Among Us devs have spoken out the last couple of days about Fortnite's controversial Imposters mode that they released this week. So some of the people behind Indie Hit Among Us have spoken out about this Imposters mode. Fortnite developer Epic announced a new game mode for its all-encompassing Battle Royale that has an uncanny resemblance to 2018 online multiplayer social deduction game Among Us. Fortnite Imposters, as it's called, sees 10 players, 8 agents, and 2 imposters play out their roles on a submarine. Like in Among Us, the agents carry out routine assignments, while the imposters sabotage the facility and eliminate players. Imposters can also teleport players to recover their tracks and disable assignments. So this was Epic realizing they had an assignment due tomorrow, hadn't even started it. Among Us was sitting beside them, and they went, hey, can I look at your notes? And they've sort of just grabbed their notes and just copied everything they can, changed a couple of words around and went, here you go. Here is Fortnite Imposters. Miss Hart, this is a bit gross. It's the sign of big money giant Epic just flexing and going, you know what? We're big enough to do this. Stick it up your ass.
Exactly. And that's all it is that they've seen what the hotness is. They've seen that it's still maintained popularity, and they've essentially just thrown this mode into their game. Is Fortnite still free? Sounding like an old person here. So
it is still, I'm similarly old. I haven't played Fortnite in years. And I don't have any inclination to play it in future years either. But the kids love it.
So, already... I'm pretty certain, apart from... No, Among Us is... there's a cost to buying Among Us.
Among Us is cost. I think it was about $20. No more than $20.
Nothing too major. Which I was fine with. But then, obviously, Juggernaut, Epic, and then having this free game, and then essentially taking this game mode and just incorporating it into their game. It's just scummy. They just wanted to, take whatever the kids are enjoying, saying they like it, so we'll do it as well. And I think the other frustrating thing is that the team that did Among Us were trying to collaborate, or they did reach out to try and collaborate. So they essentially said, no collaboration, we're just going to take it. Yeah,
it's some pseudo playground bullying sort of vibes going on here, where they're like, hey, let's work together, and Epic's like, no, you know what, we're just gonna take what you do, change it slightly enough so we can't get sued, and hopefully steal some of your very devout player base.
It's just rich it being Epic. Epic are currently still having their lawsuit with Apple, and then talking about trying to have a campaign about big corporation putting them down and everything like that, and then them doing that to a indie studio. And even the people in the indie studio for Among Us, they even said, like, we get it. Like, things like, you know, ideas happen and, you know, you can grab a few things, but there's just, like, a lot of wording that they chose to use that are identical from our game. Like, they were so, like, you know, reasonable about most things, like, understanding that, yeah, sometimes certain game concepts, you can't own them, and that, like, it's free use to kind of have the same ideas or take from the same ideas, but they just said there's just too many wordings and other choices that are exactly similar to Among Us that they actively chose to take. So, I mean, like, the imposters, like, I don't want to be, like, anti-Fortnite, but, like, it's just more of a case of, like, I liked the idea of this indie team that started a game in 2018. They got success. They kept working on it, and it's still popular. There's still people playing it. They're still having fun with it, and then just some bully just taking it from them.
Yeah, shout out to everybody at Inner Sloth. Like, they came out of nowhere with this game and put them on the map, and they've had a lot of success, and it's awesome to see. You love these sort of little out of nowhere stories that pop up and see these little studios rise up and have a lot of success and financial success, and it's awesome to see. But yeah, you read the tweets, like the stuff here, like from Victoria Tran, who's the community director, and, you know, it's like, would have been really, really cool to collab. And then, as you mentioned, Miss Hart, like, game mechanics, fine, that shouldn't be gatekept, but at least even different themes or terminology to make things more interesting, like using the options to vote and eject someone, like it plays out in Imposters, as you said, Miss Hart, the agents and the imposter terminology, all these things. It's just the exact same game with a Fortnite coat of paint over the top of it.
Yeah.
And it's just so blatant and so sad. And seeing a lot of the people at Inner Sloth where they're all devastated and heartbroken and disappointed that this happened, even though they were going around to Epic's doorstep all the time saying, hey, let's work together, let's be friends here, let's try and make some magic in the same studio. And they've just been shut out, and then they get their game pretty much re-released with a different name and some different skins. Like, it's pretty depressing, but
kind of
big business.
I kind of hope they actually have a legal leg to stand on. So
it'd be nice. Like, I know that they hadn't, like, patented any of their systems, like you know, WB patented the Nemesis system in their Mordor games, but they didn't patent any of these systems in there. So it is open slather, like, it is fair game for everybody to potentially do these same things. But yeah, it's just sad to see. And hopefully, well, the game's not going to get taken down, that's for sure. Like, it's gonna be here to stay, or whether it's a limited timed release or something. But Among Us is not a game for me, though, so I don't care.
I think the one benefit that Among Us might still have is that you can mod it. They've allowed people to mod their game, and you can add different modes to keep it interesting and stuff like that. I don't think Epic would be open to people modding it. I say that with not 100% confidence.
Yeah, I'd say Epic would certainly want to control their game and what you can and can't do with it more than Inner Sloth would. So, yeah, you know, it sucks to see this type of thing happen in any type of creative space. But to be honest, I'm not going to play Fortnite Imposters, and I'm probably not going to play a game of Among Us again. So, it doesn't sort of impact my day-to-day, but it impacts a lot of other people. So hopefully all you Among Us fans stick by them and keep supporting them and playing the game, buying the skin packs and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Just
to show that you're in a Sloth's corner, because Epic is, the big evil multinational. Fuck them. All right, Miss Hart. The last bit of news, we had another Pokemon Presents happen this past week. So the Pokemon Company debuted a new Pokemon Presents video presentation this past Wednesday/Thursday, revealing the latest news on upcoming Switch games, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Pokemon Legends Arceus. So we've got some dot points here as far as breaking down what was showcased. Full disclosure, you know, we're Pokemon fans, but we're not Pokemon purists like some of the people that we associate with. Like, we know Pokemon pretty well, but we're not like, we're not Professor Oak equivalents here.
Yeah.
We play the games, we enjoy them.
We like
so we're going to give you
Pokemon.
some pretty muted commentary, I'd say.
We like Pokemon. We're not obsessed with Pokemon.
That's no shot to the franchise. There's some cool things going on, but we're not as embedded as a lot of other people out there. So full disclosure, keep your angry comments away for now. So Pokemon Unite heads to mobile in September. Obviously, it's already available on the Nintendo Switch. Pokemon Unite is heading to mobile device. We're talking Android and iOS on the 22nd of September. The mobile version will also have crossplay with the Switch version. And then we've also confirmed that 2 more playable Pokemon are coming to Pokemon Unite. We've got Mamoswine and Sylveon making their way to Pokemon Unite in the coming weeks, which is exciting. I haven't played Unite for a little while, to be honest, but I've enjoyed my time with it so far. Maybe I'll go back with some more characters. Maybe I won't. Who knows? The next one, Pokemon Cafe Mix, is getting remixed. So the touch-based puzzle game for Nintendo Switch and mobile is getting revamped and renamed to Pokemon Cafe Remix. The game will get new puzzle elements, additional Pokemon, and new dress-up options. And Pokemon themselves are finally allowed to eat.
Yeah.
It's pretty rude that you bring your Pokemon to this cafe and they just sit there starving as you stuff your face.
Yeah. I think I played this on its first announcement. Like, I think I dabbled into it, but I think it's, I think there was like something about it like stopped me. I don't know if it was like you have so many lives to play so many rounds, or I can't remember what mechanic it was, but I just remember it just stopped me right away. So,
well, you can get back into it now with Pokemon Cafe Remix. Maybe it'll get you back on the horse.
maybe not.
Or the Ponyta, I guess you could say, if we wanted to
Nice.
do a horse-based reference.
Pokemon fans.
Yeah. Go, Gary.
No, Gary, no.
All right. The next one. What's new in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pearl was also showcased. So the Nintendo Switch remakes of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl will be both updated and faithful to the originals. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl will feature the originals minigames like the Pokemon Super Contests, the Underground with the Dousing minigame, and your secret base. Players will also be able to customize your trainer's outfit and even their Pokeballs with collectible stickers that add visual effects to your throw animations. Launching alongside Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is a new new Nintendo Switch Lite console featuring Dialga and Palkia, obviously 2 of the legendary Pokemon. Oh my, I read that and I felt like I was 75 years old all of a sudden trying to read like hip new things like...
I just thought you were laughing at the idea of putting stickers on your balls.
Oh yeah, that too. Like, it'd be nice that I can do that in real life and then in a video game now, which would be cool. Bridges the gap.
It really does.
But I just had a giggle about the Underground with the Dousing game and your secret base. So you've got a secret base. Full disclosure, I never played Diamond or Pearl.
Neither.
Hence why I was giggling, because I'm like, what are these things? What are these mechanics? I don't know.
Yeah. I actually watched the little sequence about putting like collectible the little stickers on the Pokeball. It doesn't look tasteful. Like, it doesn't look like anything brilliant to me. So,
Well, it's enough of a feature to get highlighted here in this bit of news read. So anyone that's been sitting at home frustrated about not being able to put stickers on their Pokeballs, you don't have to wait much longer to be able to do that in Switch form on the new Nintendo Switch Lite console featuring those legendary Pokemon. So there you go. And also expanding on the word legendary, actually, we're reducing the word legendary to legends. Pokemon Legends Arceus was showcased in full. We got a highlight on how Pokemon battles will be working in Pokemon Legends Arceus, and it's a definite variation on the battles that we're all familiar with. When battles begin, players will have a few different, in air quotes, style options for battling in a turn-based fashion. So such as strong or agile styles, which change statistics on specific moves depending on situations. Likewise, some Pokemon may be able to take a few turns in a row based on said statistics. The turn-based mechanics definitely look familiar, but the changes look intriguing. 4 new Pokemon evolutions and variations are also coming to the game's new Hisui region. Wyrdeer, Hisuian Growlithe, which I loved that look at that Pokemon. He looks fantastic. Hisuian Bravery and Bascu Legion, a terrifying new evolution of Basculin. Jesus Christ. Some of these names, I'm feeling older. I think I've just turned 80, Miss Hart. But yeah, like the world that they're showing here, the Hisui region, I thought it looked nice. I like that there's some new mechanics as far as the battling and also just sneaking around in the high grass and trying to capture Pokemon. Looks like it's a bit of a different experience. It looks like the world is much more lived in and vibrant and real, you could say. Like instead of just Pokemon games of old where you just walk into some tall grass and a Pokemon finds you, you know, like there is a lot of Pokemon inhabiting these regions. So it's kind of cool to continue those interactions that we saw with Sword and Shield. The battle changes. Obviously, you've got a male and a female archetype as far as the trainer you play. But Miss Hart, graphically, obviously the Nintendo Switch in comparison to the Xbox, to the PlayStation and to PC is a distant fourth as far as graphical processing power. But this game, I know it's still a few months away. I don't know if the trailer, they just rendered this thing in a lower resolution and chucked it into this presentation, but it didn't look as polished. Like it wasn't as poppin' and polished and sizzling as I expected it to be. But will I probably buy this on day one still? Yeah, probably. I don't mind playing a Poke game. No. But graphically, I think that's the biggest hullabaloo going around the internet is people are saying this thing kind of looks crappy.
Yeah, it did to me. Like, watching it, I wasn't extremely wowed, and I think what I compared it to like Wii graphics. Like I understand how Sword and Shield looked, and it doesn't venture too far off that. But I guess I was expecting like a little bit more polish, maybe a little bit more refinement, like maybe that they had worked on something, but it either looks exactly the same or maybe slightly worse. Like you said, like maybe it was something to do with the video and how they rendered it. Maybe it was a bit off, but yeah, my perspective is it just looks rough. Oh, there's like a meme, I guess, going around showing the comparison of like, I can't remember which is the other game, but comparing it to like the 1 or 2 trees in this open world Pokemon game where there's just like one tree here and one tree there, and it's just yeah, I don't know, like if lived in would be the best term because it's very sparse. And then there's all these like additional Pokemon, and like the Hussein Growlithe, is that right?
Yeah,
Hussein? He's
so cute.
Everyone was going off. Everyone adored it. But this is like, I understand that it's a different region, but this is also set in the past, right?
Yeah. This is set back in the day. Yeah.
So is this saying that we breed out certain breeds of Pokemon?
Maybe there's a bit of social commentary there, you know, as is with breeding and things like that, as far as designer dogs and cats and every other type of pet you can have. Maybe that's what happened with the Hisuian Growlithe. We don't know. And maybe there's going to be a story in future about how they've died out or evolved, or maybe it's going to be to do with, I don't know, maybe there's some global warming nods in this that we get where the regions have changed, they've had to move due to the temperature fluctuations. So, but yeah, it's interesting. That Bascu Legion, the angry looking, I don't know if you'd classify him as a pilchard or he's like a little angry looking neon colored fish. Like he looks awesome. Like he's pink and gray, and he's sort of like a shark / carp / sardine, I guess you could say.
It's a lot of
and you use him to surf in air quotes, and then you get the bravery, which you're seeing the fly elements in the game to get around the environment. That looks cool, but yeah, the graphics were just it's little left a little to be desired, I'd say.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree.
Yeah, but I guess when we still go full circle to those early 90s releases of Red and Blue, the graphics have improved a little bit, you'd say, from those times. Yeah. But Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of the news. Let's maybe jump over to this little ditty.
Tweet of the week.
And this is a reply to a tweet that Jeff Keighley initially dropped. This was hot off the press this morning. So Jeff Keighley, the man behind many fantastic things, dropped a tweet and it said, 5 days until Gamescom, #opening night live this coming Wednesday or Thursday for the people here in the AU/NZ regions. We are, in quotes, bossing it with our announcements this year. Then it was like, see you live, here's the time zones. And there's a graphic of a wall, like a brick wall with some graffiti with a little Saints-based icon and then the wording rebooting on there. And then the @SaintsRow Twitter handle replied or retweeted this and did like the emoji eyes, the looking emoji eyes, 3 sets of those to this. So Miss Hart, are we getting a remake of the original Saints Row to be announced this week?
I hope so. I really hope so. I love Saints Row 1 and 2. 3 and 4 are alright, but like I really, really, really loved 1 and 2. And so if we're getting a reboot, if we're getting like a polish version of this game, if they're going to have the same music and everything else, the same voice actors and characters, I'm so excited. I would love to replay this. I was mentioning to you that I was pretty much a GTA purist for the longest time, so I actually dismissed Saints Row when it first came out. I was like, GTA ripoff. But then I happened to play it and I fell in love with it. And I was a big advocate of Saints Row for quite some time after that, unfortunately. So, yeah, I'm excited. I hope we get to see more.
I'm keen too. I was a big fan of those early Saints Row games, and it was good to see something, I guess, try to compete with GTA.
Yeah.
Like obviously GTA 5 is still the flag bearer when it comes to this style of game, and you've seen this game just still continue to be near the top of the charts years on since its release. But I think there's a place for some new Saints Row or some old now new Saints Row with a reboot or just a remake from the ground up on those first couple of games, because obviously we're seeing it with San Andreas and Vice City and stuff that we touched on the last couple of weeks. And I'm excited. I'm keen to see a sexier looking Saints Row. We don't need the dildo guns. Obviously, they came in later iterations. We don't need those and the dubstep guns and things. But
Aliens and
those
such.
first few Saints Row games before they went full Hamburglar insanity. Yeah, that was sick. So yeah, let's go. Let's go. And Gamescom, I'm excited. Like obviously we've got an Xbox showcase happening at Gamescom as well. So maybe we'll see some fresh announcements on the back of that. But yeah, Saints Row coming back at you. I'm keen.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm keen, Miss Hart. Yeah. And speaking of other things we can be keen for in the short term.
New releases and events.
All right. So broken this down into events, podcasts, movies, and then games as far as things to look forward to this week. Obviously, what we just alluded to, Gamescom is going to be coming at you this week. So Wednesday through Thursday, that's going to be kicking off depending on where you are in the world. And it looks like we're going to get Saints Row announced in there at the very least, as well as other things. So yeah, check your socials for that. If you can watch the opening night at openingnightlive.com. You can see it all now. Obviously, it's going to be broadcast on YouTube and Twitch and stuff. So if you've got time to watch all this play out in real time, do it. If not, you'll be able to find all that content updated and shared on them socials. As far as podcasts, obviously you're listening to the Hungry Games episode 254 at the moment. There's also a new Comedy Rewind episode dropping this week, as well as a new existing on. As far as movies that are coming, Candyman is hitting the cinemas this week. So anyone that's been saying that name 3 times in the mirror, you don't have to wait any longer because the Candyman is coming at you this week. I'm excited for this. It looks pretty cool. looks eerie. Jordan Peele is getting involved in this. Obviously, the horror savant that gets a lot of positive press with what he's doing out there on the big and the small screen. I'm excited, Miss Hart. You going to watch Candyman?
Probably not.
Watch Candyman in the yesteryear.
I watched the original one probably later than when it actually came out because I probably didn't think it was scary. And I don't really need to watch the remake. I think there's a million and one movies I need to watch before this one. So
can confirm.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
So I'll probably skip on this one for the time being.
Okay. Well, if you're skipping that, it means you got some free time to play. Maybe an assortment of these games that are coming out in the next calendar week. Obviously, Aliens Fireteam Elite is dropping this week. Hoa, I Expect You to Die 2, The Spy and the Liar, King's Bounty 2, Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2, Marvel Future Revolution, that's a mobile game. Psychonauts 2 is coming out this week. Obviously, day one on Game Pass. Proto Corgi is coming out this week. Spelunky 1 and 2, Baldo the Guardian Owls, Inked A Tale of Love, and No More Heroes 3, all coming out in the next week between THG cycles. So there's plenty of games there to keep you busy, and some big names there, some little indie gems in there potentially, and there's a lot to keep your hands busy this week in between putting stickers on your Pokeballs.
It's true.
But Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of THG 254. Anything you want to say before we shut this studio down?
I know you're sad because Food Wars, you've kind of run out of Food Wars.
Yes.
I have a series that I've actually been watching. I laughed at it when I first heard about it, but now I'm actually into it. It's called Crime Scene Kitchen, and it's hosted by Joel McHale. And it's literally a show where the contestants go into a kitchen where there's elements of like a thing that had been baked or made, and they have to get the clues of like maybe a dusting of powder here and this and that, and then they have to see if they can guess what was made. And like I said, I laughed when I first heard this. I'm like, this is stupid, and I'm obsessed. So Crime Scene Kitchen, hosted with Joel McHale.
You have sold me.
Yeah.
I love cooking shows and I love crime-based shows. And if they can meld those together into one fantastic, beautiful disaster, I am all for it. Where can I watch that?
They even have like red herrings. I'm watching it on Hulu, but I'm assuming there must be some way that you guys can watch it over there because it's gold.
Yeah, I'm going to do some digging after this pod to see how I can watch Crime Scene Kitchen because that sounds fantastic. Crime Scene Kitchen, yeah, that's going to be my weekend. I'm just going to be binging that now. I'm not leaving the house. Fuck it. Whatever my plans were, they're cancelled. I'm watching Crime Scene Kitchen.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Miss Hart. You're always coming in clutch for me. Appreciate that. But listeners, thank you for stopping on by the Hungry Gamers podcast for another week. Means an awful lot. If you've got a bit of time and looking to upgrade that audio-based experience, obviously head over to audiotechnica.com, audiotechnica.com.au to get the best in audio-based equipment, upgrade those headphones, those microphones, those gaming headsets, those turntables, and as we alluded to earlier, 8bit.net/win to go into the draw to win yourself some 8-bit and Audio-Technica-oriented swag. 8bit.net/win. You've got about 10 days. Win will be drawn at the start of September. But until next time, 8-Bit Nation, it has been our absolute pleasure to serve you. Much love.
And stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.